Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the last and final step of this LBSF course. All that we're going to do in this lecture is do a read through of question 4. The one that you have in your assignment has some errors on them. So I have sent through the corrections that should be made to those errors, and the guys at Lead will upload that for you onto the platform. So please use that assignment. If you use the assignment currently in the manual, your bank reconciliation won't balance. So I'm going to get straight into it, and I'm going to share the updated version of the assignment with you guys. Okay, so this is question 4. And it's for 20 marks. So let's first go down to the required and see what they actually want from us here. So all you are required to record all the transactions in the cash book, perform a bank reconciliation for November 2021, and show the income and fees ledger with the applicable transactions. So they require 3 things from us. They require a cash book, they require a bank reconciliation, and they require a income/fee ledger. Okay, so let's go back to the top and quickly work through all the info that they give us here. So the first thing that they ask is that they give us is the bank reconciliation for the previous month, which is the 30th of October. So what are we going to use this info? So I'm just going to highlight it here. So we are now dealing with the highlighted section over there. So what's the 2 things that we're going to try and figure out from that bit of info that they give us there? The first thing is we're going to use that to see which transactions do pass through the bank. And then secondly, we are going to have certain transactions that's unticked, and those ones will carry over into our bank reconciliation for the new month. So what I would do if I was you guys, later in the assignment, they're going to give us all the transactions that did pass through the bank. So if I was you on your assignment, I'd go next to a transaction, and the moment I know it passes through the bank statement, go put a little bank statement tick next to it. So at the end of the day, all the transactions that don't have bank statement ticks next to it are the ones that we know will have to carry over into the new month's bank recon. Okay, so with this section here, this is last month's bank recon. We are going to go through all the bank transactions and tick off the ones that has gone through the bank, and those ones we're not going to do anything with. But there will then be some transactions remaining here that's unticked, and those ones will have to carry over into the new bank recon. There's a little trick here that I want to make you guys aware of. That outstanding check highlighted now, the first one, check 132 in July 2020. We are now doing the bank reconciliation for November 2021. So give yourself or ask yourself the question, will that check still pass in future? Okay, now obviously the answer is going to be no, that check is stale. So even though it is recorded in the 30th of October's recon, we can accept that they made a mistake, and we now have to correct that in the new bank recon or in the new cash book. We did in the lectures deal with how to handle a stale check. So do whatever you need to do to reverse a stale check. And then the last bit of info that we can gather from this first section is they give us the balance of the cash book as at 30 October 2021. So that means this is the balance that we carry forward into our new cash book for the November, that we carry into the November cash book. So that's our opening balance. Okay, now they're telling us the following transactions were processed during November 2021. So I want to say processed is maybe not the best word, because let's rather see it as these transactions have occurred, but we haven't yet captured them anywhere. So what they are trying to give you here is to say that all of these transactions that they list in the next section, these transactions occurred in this current period, but they haven't been accounted for at all. So all of these transactions, you have to go and write into your cash book. If it increases your cash book balance, it goes on the debit side. If it decreases your cash book balance, it goes on the credit side. Then there's another section to this that is implied. These first transactions, bank charges, interest received, and the debit order that goes off, they will not, at a later point in the assignment, they're going to give us all the transactions that they say passed through the bank statement. These ones are not listed there. That doesn't mean that they did not pass through the bank. If you think logically about it, the bank charges go off your bank account immediately. Interest that you receive gets received immediately. A debit order goes off your bank immediately. So those first three, you can believe has passed through the bank. Then we've got the checks. So these checks you've got to go and capture in your cash book. And we can't at this point say whether it has passed through the bank or not. So there we'll have to refer to the further information that we get. Okay, then also EFT payments. EFT payments, we can accept that all of them have passed through the bank. And then we've got the two deposits, one for 120,000 and one for 75. Now in this case, we can't at this point say whether it has passed through the bank or not. So there we also have to wait for more information. Okay, then the next bit of info that they give us is invoices issued in November 2021. So if we go back, or if we remember, in the required, they asked us for the income/fee ledger account. Now I just want to clearly point it out here. Deposits is not fees. Deposits is telling us how much money came into our bank. Invoices tell us how much fees have been generated. So this invoice section here will be applicable to the ledgers that we have. Okay. Then now at this point they say the following transactions were processed in the bank statement, and they give us check numbers and they give us deposit received in bank account. Okay, so here they tell us which transactions have passed through the bank. So I'm just going to show you one as an example. So if I was you guys, what I would do is say, okay, let's say check number 141. So let's go and look, where do we find check 141? And the answer is there. We find it in last month's bank recon. So next to this, I will now simply go and put a tick mark to say this has passed through the bank statement. So let's assume, or for a moment think that, let's say that's the only transaction. Then it means these two transactions here, well, that one there will carry through onto the bank, onto November's bank reconciliation. But that would be my process. So just follow that, then check the next one, check 142, go and tick it. Check 143, go and tick it. These bank deposits here, go and tick them off. Any transaction that is then unticked and not part of this section or the EFT payment section, we can then accept must appear on our bank reconciliation. So you're going to do your little T account for the cash book, and at the end of that cash book you're going to have a closing balance. That closing balance must be carried forward into the bank reconciliation. Then you're going to add some transactions, you're going to deduct some transactions, and the ultimate answer is then you must balance back to this bank statement balance that is given here. So if your bank recon doesn't reconcile, either way, just go and slot that line in on your bank recon as the bank statement balance, and at least you then get a mark for this. But yeah, this question I think is not very difficult to pass, for the fact that the bulk of the marks are actually just normal bank transactions that you have to go and account for. So you must just get your debits and your credits right on your Cashbook T account. The bank reconciliation itself, which is actually the more difficult part, I think is only worth about 5 or 6 marks. So even if you just get the Cashbook part and the fee part right, you will most probably pass this assignment. Okay, that's all my notes on that. If you've got any questions, please upload it on the forum. I know there was a bit of a delay there in terms of my replies, but I wasn't actually aware that the forum was open because they haven't yet linked me up, but I've now been linked up. So if you've got any questions, please log on there. That's in the last from me. So all of the best. I always tell my students, I hope I don't see you again, because that means you would have passed. If I see you again or you see me again, then sadly it didn't go that well for you. But all of the best. I don't think this assignment is that difficult. I'm sure you will all do very well and go on to run your own successful practices. Goodbye.